morning everyone, and welcome to this week's assembly. This week we're going to be talking about statues and sharing a couple of Michael Rosen poems, as well as, of course, talking about our stars of the week. Once again, we're really pleased to welcome back some more children this week, and we continue to do this in a really safe way. We can't say it enough. We're super proud of you all for the way you continue to work, both at home and at school. Now let's start about our theme for this week, which is all about statues.
Okay, let's think about what a statue is. A statue is a carved figure of someone usually seen to be important, and it helps us to remember their lives. A few weeks ago in Assembly, we talked about standing up for fairness and against racism. You may have seen on the news that anti-racist protesters pulled down a statue in Bristol. The statue of a man called Edward Colston was pulled down and thrown in the river. Colston was a rich businessman born in Bristol nearly 400 years ago. He made lots of his money from the slave trade, and it made him very rich. Slavery is a violent abuse of people's freedom and rights, and it was racist. At the time, Colston was celebrated as a wealthy man, and a statue was built to commemorate his life. So why do you think people were angry this year, in 2020, about this statue?
I think people are angry about that statue because that man was a slave trader.
They were mostly angry because of the past week. What happened was the death of George Floyd, which became a racist fault. So they started pulling down the statues, which the famous people who apparently did great for the country, but also did bad for the country because they were slave trading.
Many people think it is insulting to see a statue that celebrates somebody whose actions cause so much harm to so many people. Bristol is a diverse city with people from many different backgrounds, and many people think it is not right to have a statue that celebrates someone whose actions were not good. Some people say that statues tell the story of our country's history, and that helps us to remember the bad things as well as the good things. Maybe we don't need statues for this though. Next time you're out exploring in our local area, have a look at which statues you can see. We have lots in our local area. So who do you think deserves a statue to celebrate what they do?
Say people who didn't do slave trading, people who invented stuff, like people who invented school, people who invented the light bulb, people who invented cars and stuff like that. Something that we use in our everyday life that helps us through the day, they should get a statue, because without those, we would be like back in the 80s or the 90s.
I think people who should have statues are people who good people, like our mayors or MPs, people who make good decisions for our country. I think the people who should get statues are people who help save the planet, people who are anti-racist, people who are help stopping global warming.
Thank you for having a think with us about this. I'm now going to share some exciting news with Miss Chandrarajah, all about reading.
Hello, it's Miss Chandrarajah here, and it is that time of year again that we will be doing the Summer Reading Challenge. Now I know that you might be a little bit worried, like how are we going to take part this year? We can't go to the library. Please don't worry, because the Reading Agency and the libraries have found an amazing way to make sure that you can still take part in the Summer Reading Challenge 2020. And to do that, all you have to do is visit the website that you can see right there called thesillysquad.org.uk. Just search for that website, register yourself, and you're good to go.
Okay, thanks, Miss Chandrarajah. Now, children, to see all of Miss Chandrarajah's information about the Summer Reading Challenge, please go to your Google Classroom and you will find it in the chat stream. Now, I'm going to share with you a couple of poems by Michael Rosen. And for those of you who have been around for a little while, you will know that Michael Rosen is a friend of our school. And I would say actually a friend of pretty much all schools. Michael Rosen caught coronavirus and actually he's been very, very sick. He's gradually recovering and we're really happy to hear it. So I'm going to share a poem with you that he wrote that's called Feeling Ill. And then I'm going to share a poem that he wrote, well, let's see if you can work out what he wrote about. So this is Feeling Ill. Lying in the middle of the bed, waiting for the clock to change, flicking my toes on the sheets, watching a plane cross the window, staring at the glare of the light, smelling the orange on the table, counting the flowers on the curtain, holding my head with my hand, hearing the steps on the stairs, lying in the middle of the bed, waiting for the clock to change. Now, Michael Rosen, I think I'm right in saying, was very, very poorly for about 7 weeks, if not even more than 7 weeks. And he was put into an induced coma. So he wouldn't really have been aware of what was going on. So when he wrote that poem, he was talking about people just feeling generally ill and being in bed for a period of time. But he would have been in bed in hospital for a very long time. 7 weeks is a long time. And he wouldn't really have known what was happening to him. But I listened to an interview with him on the radio at the beginning of this week. And it was very, very moving to listen to just how hard the impact of coronavirus upon him, how much it had hit him, really. And he was breathless and he was poorly. And it's interesting because he wrote the poem that I'm going to share with you now prior to any of this happening. But let's see if you can work out what this is all about. This is called These Are the Hands. These are the hands that touch us first. Feel your head, find the pulse, and make your bed. These are the hands that tap your back, test the skin. Hold your arm, wheel the bin, change the bulb, fix the drip, pour the jug, replace your hip. These are the hands that fill the bath, mop the floor, flick the switch, soothe the sore, burn the swabs, give us a jab, throw out sharps, design the lab. And these are the hands that stop the leaks, empty the pan, wipe the pipes, carry the can, clamp the veins, make the cast, log the dose, and touch us last. Now that was a poem that Michael Rosen wrote about the people who work in the NHS. And I'd love it if you would listen to that again, or maybe find a copy of it that you can read yourselves and really think about what he's talking about there, about the NHS as an institution and all of the things that those hands do in that institution. One thing I wanted to say to you was that in the interview, he talked about the fact that the coronavirus had made him feel feeble and lopsided. And I was thinking that actually maybe, even though for most of us the coronavirus hasn't actually hit us personally, and we might not have suffered from it and been ill with it, I think that this whole experience of the last 4 months may well have made us all at times feel a little bit feeble, which means not so strong. And that might not be physically strong, but that might mean just, have I got the strength even to carry on? And I know I've certainly felt like that sometimes. And a bit lopsided. And I don't think that he meant he feels like he's literally lopsided, but I think he sort of feels a bit unbalanced, a bit unstable still. And again, I certainly have felt a bit unbalanced at times throughout this. And so really I just wanted to say that actually that's okay. We've all had those days where things have been a bit lopsided and we felt maybe not as strong as we usually do. But hopefully now we're turning the corner, and most of us and some of us are back at school, and most of us are preparing now to get back to school properly for September. More information on that in the letters. And yeah, we're all looking forward to hopefully finding a new normal for us all to get on with. Anyway, having said all that, best wishes to Michael Rosen, and we wish him an ongoing recovery. And yeah, I hope you guys are all right. So I now need to look to my notes to see what we are moving on to, and that is we are going to be taking a look at some of the home learning that's been going on, and Miss Chandrarajah shared some of the great poetry that Year 1 have been doing.
My poem. Skipping is my favourite.
Yikes! Missing friends.
Envious friends come to play. New desserts.
Not napping.
Amen. Adorable. Nimble.
This is my fuddler. This is how you spell fuddler. F-U-G-G-L-E-R-S. This is what I wrote. Fun, friendly fuddler.
Welcome to my acrostic poem. Rona really likes dancing. Has good friends. A good helper. Love my dad. Look at ice cream. Amazing friend. Caring teacher. Helping me every day. Never leaves work. Helps everybody who is poorly or injured. Soon we will make some medicine. Look in my house. Only I can go to my garden.
Fruits all should eat. Riot is dangerous. You know, indeed. I wash my hand after I greet.
Knowing how to share. I like helping people. N, never give up. D, do something good.
Isolation, don't get affected. Stay safe, bye.
Okay, so here we are back with me again, and now we're over to the stars of the week. For this week commencing the 29th of June. So we have Anwisha in Gandhi class for always giving very creative solutions to problems on Google Meets. She's always very confident when it comes to voicing her opinion. Well done, you. For Noel in Berners-Lee, for completing his Spanish home learning to a very high standard and handing it in every single week without fail. And that nomination was from Mrs. Light. Well done, Noel. To Ishmael in Berners-Lee class for his fantastic explanations in the mathematics lesson this week. Well done, Ishmael. Reggie in Attenborough class for excellent use of Numicon and so much enthusiasm and communication with number work during the Google Meet session with Miss Hunt. Well done, you. To Akira in Attenborough class, you've settled in really quickly to the bubble. This week it's been really nice to see you joining in with class discussions confidently. Well done. To Adela in Einstein class for being so enthusiastic and organised in regards to your return to school this week. It's lovely to see all of your preparations on Google Meet, Adela. Well done. To Dion in Pod 2, Bubble 2 for astute, clear and thoughtful answers all week. Apparently you've given some very deep and brilliant verbal responses, showing you're developing mature attitude. Well done, Dion, that's great to hear. To Paola in Pod 4, Bubble 3 for your enthusiasm whilst being at school. She was very excited about flying her kite and encouraged others to throw them higher so that they could catch more wind. Well done, Paola. To Maruf in Mandela class for your continuous engagement on Google Meet. You always make your teachers very proud of you. To Pietra in Pod 4, Bubble 2 for a positive start to your first week back at Park and for confidently sharing your dance moves with your teachers and peers. Thank you for making us smile. To Ted in Pod 1, Bubble 1 for showing confidence when faced with challenges and working well with children from much older year groups. Well done, Ted. To Ada in Marie Curie class for showing a huge amount of motivation with home learning tasks and being confident when sharing this during Google Meet sessions. To Samuel in Pod 1 for showing great enthusiasm during your science lesson. You are a fabulous new addition to the bubble. Well done, Samuel. To Farhan in Edison class. Farhan, you have made Miss Parsons and Miss Abigail smile so much on your Google Meets. You're always very engaged, incredibly polite and willing to share your lockdown adventures with your friends. Well done, Farhan. To Bogdan in Pod 3, Bubble 3 for sharing your in-depth knowledge and random facts of the animal kingdom in your science lessons. We've all learned something. You are apparently, Bogdan, a mini David Attenborough in the making. How fabulous. To Ayan in Pod 2, Bubble 1 for the maturity and helpfulness you show by always stepping forward whenever a volunteer is needed in the bubble. To Amalia in Pod 2, Bubble 1 for the thoughtfulness and care you showed towards others in your bubble when you were thinking about things that you like and respect about each other during the transition lesson this week. Well done, Amalia, and thank you. To Alex in Marco Polo class, Pod 3, Bubble 3 for trying so hard to use your sounds to write sentences. I'm loving your new enthusiasm, Alex. Keep it up, says Miss Lennon. So well done to all of you, well done to the stars of the week, and thank you for tuning into our assembly again today. Just maybe to finish off what I was saying about Michael Rosen earlier. If you remember when he came to our school, he and I did a little rendition of We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And looking back and thinking about us being maybe a little bit vulnerable, a little bit shaky at this time, maybe we could all just say that actually if we can't go under it, we can't go around it, we can't go over it, but we can do it and go through it together. See you next week.